Hi everyone, this is Diane. I have the final Eclectic journal ready to show you, and when you see it, it's in my shop. So let's just get into it. This is the pack that comes with it. I'm not going to go through everything. It's the same stuff I showed in the previous video with the other journals. So it's not like leftover stuff because I didn't cut papers. These were papers that were already prepped, so I don't have a lot of scraps of paper left. But these are just ephemera that I have in my stash that I use. And there are a lot of stamped pieces that I pulled from my stash and included. And there are some vintage labels and just all kinds of fun things. Oh, and images from children's books are in here too. So lots of good fun things in this pack. And if you stay tuned after I show the video, or after I show the journal, I will go through what is in this special bundle that it's going to be listed separately in my shop. So let's take a look at this. This is every child's picture encyclopedia, and I put this Smash band on it. It was upside down. It goes this way because it says K & Company Smash, and that was their brand name for this Smash book. A special kind of scrapbook that they used to make, and this was a band to wrap around it. So I had this left unused in my stash, so it fits on this, so it's coming with that. This book measures 7 inches by 10 1/4, and since it's so fat, it ended up being so thick that I made it a 2 1/4 inch. No, 2.5 inch spine instead of a 2-inch spine. And you can see it's got a really fun illustration on the front of all these different things that you would find in this volume of the encyclopedia. And it has a chenille spine, really, really fun. And I stitched it with the color that matches this orange chenille. And this is a vintage trim. And it's on the back also. And then I created this dangle that you can actually remove from the spine. I just tied it around this binder clip. So we have beads that match these colors. So oranges, yellows, greens, and purples. There's a couple of jingle bells on it. You can probably hear them. A purple keychain fob. A little purple flocked bunny bead. And what else? Oh, there's a Scrabble tile. This little Cracker Jack toy, which is yellow binoculars. A turtle. Memory game card. And this was a Rummikub tile. So lots of fun things. You can take it off when you want to write in it so it won't bother you at all. So let's take a look inside. We have 3 signatures that are sewn in with a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, and I don't have the count of papers, but it's the same. I think it's the same as in the smaller journal, but I'll put it in the listing. So I used this really bright paper on the inside, and someone had sent me a few of these book plates with Linus from the library of, and I liked the way he looked there, so it went there. This is, so if you weren't familiar with this project, I had a bunch of pages that were left over from books. I made decorated pages for certain journals, then they didn't go in the journals because there were too many pages. So I had several different sizes and types of pages, so I made 3 journals and then added more pages to the journals. To the signatures. So some of these pages were already decorated, and then I took my ephemera that I have made in other videos, and I've had some of them for several years, and I have a good sized box of tags and cards and pockets and booklets and things that I made that are just sitting there. So I decided that's what I would fill these journals with. So that's what we have. This is one of the pages that I had made previously, and it's a vintage music sheet. You can see there's a little tear right there, and the page is curled a little bit, but it just, I like that vintage look. And then I reinforced the fold with this sheer organza fabric with a blue print and white flocking. It is beautiful. And then I had, this is all sewn on, a paper doily and a die cut doily, or a die cut shape, this pretty playing card and a piece of lace. And then I just tucked this digital card in there. And on the back, just glued a little stamped hedgehog there. And this is just a stamped coffee dyed index card with the Tiffany & Co. stamp on it. There's a not vintage ledger paper, and I had made this banner. This was in my stash with a vintage postage stamp. This is from some book, just a book. Somebody's sketches there, and on the inside we have sketches of plant life and some hand-drawn maps. Kind of cute. This is a pocket that I made with a fabric that is adorable. And this is a digital. I think that I had this card and made a copy of it. And then somebody sent this card to me in a Happy Mail, and she's such a pretty little girl holding her kitten. And there's lavender on it. This card was cut with a die. It's got 2 layers, so they're nesting dies. And it's really pretty shape of a tag. Then she put a purple eyelet in it, so I put a purple trim. And oh, another thing I pulled from was a stash that I have of pre-printed digitals that I purchased, and I printed them, and I never used them, or they're left over from a journal project. So this is I think it's a wallpaper pattern, and I added this little ephemera that I made, and we can tuck something in there. Just take this little, will it fit in there? I mean, will it be too small? No. It's a little lottery ticket from 1972. There's a recipe book page, and there's a children's book page, and I added fabric flip. So I got out my stash of fabric flips, and I used almost all of the ones that I had left, and I used a few clusters too, and fabric pockets. So this was a sack that I had, and I put a stamped image there, and this image from a book, and a little piece of scrapbook paper. There was a slit cut in it for some reason going down, so I covered the slits with paper. And this is just a coffee dyed paper that I had, and I added these images, photographic images of a lady on a bicycle. And you can write on that. And this is just a printable on coffee dyed paper. It was really fun getting to use some things that have been in my stash for a long time. This is a small ledger page, and here was a page that was made previously, just a cardstock, pattern cardstock page, and I added this little chain of round playing cards, and you can write on that. You can remove this big brad and write on the others. They all have a yellow piece of paper, lined paper on the back. There's just a little snippet of a patchwork tie that I had made for a previous journal, so I put that there. And here is just a stamped piece, a digital. I think this is Amity Bloom. And I glued a recipe book page to the back. That's a stamped journaling spot. And this is dictionary page that was put through a printer. So some of the pages that I've used, this bag included. Don't know if we've had any of the others yet, but this one, I received pages sewn together into little booklets or big booklets or just pages from one or two people that I had purchased grungy journals from. They included this kind of thing, so I used some of those in these journals to help fill in. That's a fun typewriter paper. That's a typewriter down here, and it says Dear. Copy dyed lined paper. This is a book page with some stamped images on it. And this was a little cluster that I had made. And I added some paper tabs throughout. That's a stamped image. And another cluster that I made that I pulled from my stash. This was just a simple little pocket. It was made from a scrap of graphic 45 paper. I just rounded the corner and it was done. It was a tuck spot. And I tucked some journaling papers in there. And this was also part of the bundle that I got along with a journal that I purchased. So it's a strip of cardstock. It was probably printable. I'm not sure, but it's printed on cardstock. And it has this unique alphabet printed on it. Here's the other side of the bag, and I glued on this image from an old magazine, and it says, "Buy from us and you help a soldier." So I think they were at a benefit where they were selling baked goods and looks like some embroidery pieces, and that was to benefit soldiers. And in here I put a large tag that I decorated with a fashion image from a 1940s magazine. A vintage planner page and a vintage almanac weather forecast for December 1956. Here I put a pocket on. This pocket was made with a masterboard, and I just used a die to cut her out. And I tucked in this card tag that I had made a long time ago with a map, a vintage label, and Tim Holtz paper doll. And then this tag that I had made. This is a copy that I made of a Victorian card. And then I had made this a long time ago. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 die cut circles stacked up and attached with a brad. On this side of the paper, I have a pattern cardstock that I folded into a card, and I attached this vintage photo and just embellished it. And this is a pocket, so I tucked in this little journaling card, and you can write on the inside too. And I just draped it over the top and clipped it on. The second signature has scrapbook paper that's sewn together, and this pocket that I had in my stash, I embellished it with a scrap of cardstock and then these die cut pieces. And this tag was in my stash. Scrapbook paper with a digital and a vintage book page. This I made a long time ago. I had this little, excuse me, this little pack of linen or canvas shapes with a eyelet in them. And I edged it with ink and then just did a collage on it with green stamps and a tiny little pasteurized milk bottle cap. So that's just an embellishment. This is a page from a botanical book, and I added this little fabric cluster. And another music page from one of those big Reader's Digest music books. This is a pocket that I made with an illustration from an Alice and Jerry reader. It's very, very cute. And then I tucked in this large card that I had made with a vintage ad. It's kind of puckery, the glue. I don't know, it's a very old magazine page, and it just puckered it up. It's not wrinkled, but it's puckered, and I think it's kind of cool. But you have all that space to write on. Here is a page from a decorator. I can't remember the name of it, but this page is chairs, but there were other pages with other furnishings. Thought it was neat. I think it's from the 70s. This is a scrapbook page. I'm drifting. This is a scrapbook page that looks like the old style kitchen drawers. My grandmother had handles like these drawers on her kitchen cupboards, her drawers. So I took a couple of the drawer units and made pockets, and I tucked this tag into it. There's another flip and another cluster. A scrapbook cardstock and a piece of a ruffle. I left the ties long. You could tie them in a bow, or I don't think they're long enough to actually tie a bead to, but you could cut them short or tie them in a bow. Or you could take a little shape, like punch hearts or something, and glue them to sandwich in, trim it, and then glue the pieces on if you want to. This is a fun belly band made from 16 tiny little yearbook photos. They were all cut and glued on to a strip individually, and I got 2 of those in a Happy Mail. So this one I glued to yellow cardstock and cut around it and made it into a belly band. There is a planner page or calendar notebook page, and somebody had drawn circle and just made some notes on that side. And this is a masterboard piece with wrapping paper, vintage wrapping paper on it. And I think it stays pretty good, but I put this little paper clip on just in case. There we go. Maybe. Okay. Here we have more scrapbook paper glued together. This has 3 pieces right here. And I had this little pocket in my stash with this cute little boy. So I added that there and put a digital in and a stamped piece. Now, I think that this set of stamps must have come from China, and I never even noticed it, even when I stamped it. But when I was gluing it on, it says movie list. So I don't know how you can make a list. It's just one card with space for one title. But it says movie list and date, title, direct, instead of director. And down here, it should have said actor, but they tried to write impersonator instead of actor, and they spelled it all wrong, imposter or something like that. So I just glued some stars over it. I never even noticed it till I glued that on there. But I know that my daughter was in Korea when her first husband was in the Army, and she sent me some stationery. And just the way they print, the way they word things when they write in English, it's not right, and it's kind of cute and funny. So here's the other pocket that I talked about and a tag that I made. This is a digital piece. And another card. And I put a little pocket that I had made with my Cricut, and I didn't have cards to go in it. Usually I cut cards to go that come with that, but I didn't have them, so I just took these 2 little digitals and tucked them in. And this one opens up. This goes in here. It's a little booklet in there. And the last signature, we have this digital pocket that was left over from something. And this tag that I made, oh, I need to put some seam binding in that. I went through and I thought I got all the tags taken care of. But somebody wrote, I think it says Howard there, but I'm not sure. But they wrote their name or last name there on their pattern. That's a label. And I have these postcards, and I made a copy of some. And it's a stamped image. This is a digital that had diary line pages on it. And I added a squirrel and a label here. And this is from a calendar. Isn't that a beautiful image? I love the colors of that. Some girls with their geese. There's some geese coming into the water there. Just a quaint little village scene. And there's a photograph of a man fishing. Beautiful mountains. Another ruffle. And another cluster. This is a page from a mechanics book or woodworking book or something. And I just clipped a little journaling card. And this is a sleeve from a 45 record. The little records. And the song was You Are My Love on one side. You can journal here. This is from an art instruction book. And things to do. I almost glued this to this page, but I thought maybe you wouldn't want it glued down, but I clipped it there. If you want it glued down, you can glue it down. Here I made a pocket, and these are all digitals. And this is an illustration from a really cute children's book. Lots of space for writing. A fabric cluster, and I stamped this label stamp and factory number 1896 on that. Here's a 1958 calendar page. And this is a cluster that Carrie from the Paper Monkey on YouTube and Etsy made for me with a balloon attached. So cute. Thank you, Carrie. She contributed fabric clusters and paper clusters to these journals. On this page, I added a note to write on and this pocket that I had made with a file folder and some stamped images. And then I tucked in another of these papers that I got in that collection of goodies with another one of those. Is it Sanskrit? I'm not sure, but something fun. You can write on the backs of those. Another simple pocket with a stamped piece on it and a card that I made. Here's the other side of the record sleeve, and this song was Love and Marriage. And it's Ellie Russell and Ray Eberly. I've never heard of either of them. There's another journaling spot that I stamped and a printable. And the back of the calendar. It was from 1958. Someone else made this cluster. I did not make it. I've had it for quite a while. I'm glad to have a place to put it. It's so pretty. Very pretty with the vintage soft netting there. Very delicate. And then this I made a long time ago. I put crystal effects or glossy accents. They're both the same, but they're different brands, on the dominoes to make them shiny, and then just made this little cluster with a button. So I glued that on and stuck this inside. That's a digital. And then here we have this envelope. It was punched to be put into a wire-bound journal, but it never went in, or it came out of the one I took apart. And it just is embellished with some fun things, and this long tag goes inside. And then on the back, we have this fabric pocket, and I stamped on this little piece of muslin and sewed it on. And this kind of matches that. It's a peach-colored toile design scrapbook paper, and it's a booklet inside. It says journal, and it's a fun booklet. Lots of pages in there. And I did not put pockets on the front or back covers because there's a lot of pockets on the pages, so I just put my signature stamp right there. So as I said, this will come with this band, this bead dangle, and this bundle of goodies. And it is in my shop right now, unless somebody got there before you did. So now let me show you what else will be in my shop. I am going to put this bundle in my shop at the same time. Get myself back in order here. So I have 2 packs of goodies that come with this bundle. As I was gathering items to go with the journals, I gathered extra, and I made this pack bigger because this is just an ephemera bundle. So it is a Junk Journaler's Dream ephemera bundle. That's what I'm going to call it. So we have a can label and a soda label. I think there are 3 soda labels. This one and this one and the pink one. And then I have this beverage label too. Some game money. Some coat check tickets. A password card, an assortment of colored tickets, there's more game money, green stamps, these labels, these are not vintage, and a few small colored doilies. I think there's 2 purple ones there that felt thick. And the teeny tiny ones too. There's the pink Cherry Aid label. Oh, there's more tickets, the yellow ones. And we have some price stickers and dry cleaning tickets and price tag and lottery ticket. Some game cards. That's a dry cleaner card. There are more game cards in here, I think. A couple of French vocabulary cards. A slide. There's a game card. Then I put in a whole bunch of stamped images that I've had in my stash. All different kinds of stamped images. And just a couple circles. This one is embossed. There's some game cards. And we have some large stamped pieces that could be backgrounds. this one. We're not done. We've got more stamped pieces. Then we have a couple of these note sheets. I think there's 2 here, maybe just 1. Yeah, it's just a thick one. Another slide and some postage stamps. And a couple of tags. So that, all of that is in one of the packs. And the other pack is illustrations from children's books, mostly children's books. I think there might be a few that aren't children's books. And we don't need to look at every single one, but you'll get a good idea. Got some larger ones. This is from an old magazine. These are cute. These are cardstock. They are vintage. And then we have, I think I cut this out to use the number, but it does have this picture on the back. I hope you can see all of these okay. And we just have the smaller ones. Some are from the children's readers. This is a Corinne Malvern illustration. Dr. Dan. These are not from children's books. These are just designs. Very pretty. Raggedy Ann. More design elements. They could be, there's 4 of them, so you can put them on the corner of a card or a page. Just trim them out a little bit better. I'm skipping just a few here. Lots of fun stuff. So you get a pretty good size pack of children's book illustrations and that fun pack of lots and lots of goodies, all in one bundle. So if you're a beginning junk journaler, or even if you're a seasoned one and you just like all of this stuff, you are welcome to go to my shop and grab these and put them in your cart. Thank you all for watching today. I will leave my shop link below, and you can go find these things there. And I already have a plan for the next journal project, and I'll tell you about that very soon. Have a creative day. Bye.